Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Stay in the center, and you will be ready to move in any direction. The mystery of life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. When you find out that there was never anything in the dark side to be afraid of, nothing is left but to love. Genuine love comes from knowledge, not from a sense of duty or guilt. We know that from time to time, there arise human beings, people who seem to exude love as naturally as the sun gives out heat. Only doubtful truths need defense. I am what happens between the maternity ward and the crematorium. You're under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. A scholar tries to learn something every day. A student of Buddhism tries to unlearn something daily. It's better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. He who thinks that God is not comprehended by him, God is comprehended. But he who thinks that God is comprehended knows him not. God is unknown to those who know him and is known to those who do not know him at all. Every intelligent individual wants to know what makes him tick, and yet is at once fascinated and frustrated by the fact that oneself is the most difficult of all things to know. No one is more dangerously insane than one who is sane all the time. He is like a steel bridge without flexibility, and the order of his life is rigid and brittle. Hospitals should be arranged in such a way as to make being sick an interesting experience. One learns a great deal sometimes from being sick. Life is like music for its own sake. We are living in an eternal now, and when we listen to music, we are not listening to the past. We are not listening to the future. We are listening to an expanded present. In reality, there are no separate events. Life moves along like water. It's all connected to the source of the rivers, connected to the mouth and the ocean. Philosophers, for example, often fail to recognize that their remarks about the universe apply also to themselves and their remarks. If the universe is meaningless, so is the statement that it is so. Just as true humor is laughter at oneself, true humanity is knowledge of oneself. There was a young man who said, though, it seems that I know, but what I would like to see is the I that knows me when I know that I know that I know. Never pretend to a love which you do not actually feel, for love is not ours to command. Like too much alcohol, self-consciousness makes us see ourselves double, and we make the double image for two selves, mental and material, controlling and controlled, reflective and spontaneous. Thus, instead of suffering, we suffer about suffering. For if you know what you want and will be content with it, you can be trusted. But if you do not know, your desires are limitless, and no one can tell how to deal with you. Nothing satisfies an individual incapable of enjoyment. If you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you'll spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living. That is to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. I owe my solitude to other people. Jesus was not the man he was a result of making Jesus Christ his personal savior. Normally, we do not so much look at things as overlook them. Like love, the light or guidance of truth that influences us exists only in living form, not in principles or rules or expectations or advice, however widely circulated. The source of all light is in the eye. A man does not really begin to be alive until he has lost himself, until he has released the anxious grasp which he normally holds upon his life, his property, his reputation, and position. You are the vast thing that you see far, far off with great telescopes. People become concerned with being more humble than other people. In looking out upon the world, we forget that the world is looking at itself. Our pleasures are not material pleasures, but symbols of pleasure, attractively packaged, but inferior in content. Technology is destructive only in the hands of people who do not realize that they are one and the same process as the universe. The clash between science and religion has not shown that religion is false and science is true. It has shown that all systems of definition are relative to various purposes and that none of them actually grasp reality. There is never anything but the present, and if one cannot live there, one cannot live anywhere. It is hard indeed to notice anything for which the languages available to us have no description. Just as money is not real consumable wealth, books are not life. To idolize scriptures is like eating paper currency. When we attempt to exercise power or control over someone else, we cannot avoid giving that person the very same power or control over us. I have realized that the past and future are real illusions, that they exist in the present, which is what there is, and all there is. You and I are all as much continuous with the physical universe as a wave is continuous with the ocean. Try to imagine what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Now try to imagine what it was like to wake up having never gone to sleep. If we cling to belief in God, we cannot likewise have faith, since faith is not clinging, but letting go. There is nothing at all that can be talked about adequately, and the whole art of poetry is to say what can't be said. What we have to discover is that there is no safety, that seeking is painful, and that when we imagine that we have found it, we don't like it. Things are as they are. Looking out into the universe at night, we make no comparisons between right and wrong stars, nor between well and badly arranged constellations. If then my awareness of the past and future makes me less aware of the present, I must begin to wonder whether I am actually living in the real world. So then, the relationship of self to other is the complete realization that loving yourself is impossible without loving everything defined as other than yourself. The more a thing tends to be permanent, the more it tends to be lifeless. Do not let the rapidity with which these thoughts can change deceive you into feeling that you think them all at once. This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now, and instead of calling it work, realize it is play.